A woman was killed by a hippo while she was on a wild bushwalk in Zambia, and now her husband is suing.
Lisa and Craig Manders from Cranford, New Jersey, and their guides were on a bushwalk in Zambia. They saw a partially submerged lone hippopotamus resting in a body of water. The hippopotamus suddenly and without warning violently attacked Lisa Manders, grabbing her by its mouth, lifting her off the ground, shaking her entire body, and crushing her head and body with its bite. It says the tour operator failed to take adequate steps to protect the American tourists. Hippos kill about 500 people a year, more than twice as many as lions.
500 people a year.
I'm not going near hippo.
Can you think about, maybe Matt, you can look at how many people are killed by sharks every year?
Yeah.
And there's millions of people in the ocean every year? There's not millions of people around hippos.
I cannot. When I heard that stat, I thought that's got to be wrong. No, it's 500, or on an average, 500 people a year. But
sharks are around 7.
Seven.
My gosh.
100?
No, 7.
Yeah.
Around 7 people die from shark attacks each year. Now, this is not get bit or something. This is 7 people die from shark attacks on average a year. Yeah.
What? Because I remember that one summer, they're like, the summer of the shark.
Yes.
Beware of the ocean, because there was like a series of bites. Mm-hmm. And then we looked it up, and I remember the number was shockingly low of actually people getting killed by sharks.
The chance of getting dying from a shark that then is like worse than getting struck by lightning.
Yeah. But they made it seem like everybody should be deathly afraid because there's going to be remember we all started tracking the great whites with our phones just to make sure there weren't any near us?
Yeah, going to the beach, I'm like,
I'm
always paranoid at the beach. Yeah. Always. I'm always paranoid.
What you need to be paranoid about is apparently a hippo coming out of nowhere and killing you.
Elephants, crocodiles, and bees kill more people a year than sharks.
I'm
what
shocked.
the hell?
Oh my goodness.
Either way,
that's insane though. Real quick, was the tourist company that they was it based out of America, or we're going by some bias laws?
No, so it was an American company who had gone to Zambia. And then they were on a tour while they were there. And they happened to be walking. Mm-hmm. They had a guide with them. And part of me thinks, isn't that, like, there was a waiver, right? I mean, isn't that part of
a waiver doesn't cover everything. I don't think it's negligent.
But is that not the risk that you take when you go on a wild bushwalk?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've always said this on the air. We're so trusting as Americans. We're like, what are we doing today? Oh, we're swimming with sharks. Fine. You don't even think about it.
I know.
Yeah, because you're like, well, it's a tourist place. They're not going to put me at risk. Mm-hmm. I remember doing a zip line and the break was like a tree limb in Mexico. And I'm like, this doesn't seem right. But I'm like, hook me up.
Well, and I said to Jared, because we were talking about that, I think we're actually going to try to do this tomorrow. We're going to talk about the crazy, dangerous thing you did that, like, in hindsight, you think,
God,
yeah. Should have done that. But we, on our honeymoon, get into this sulfur pit up on a mountain because somebody said it felt nice.
Right.
And there could have been an anaconda at the bottom. It could have been boiling hot sulfur. And we're just like, let me just spread the mud all over my face. This is soothing. And in hindsight, you think, idiot.
Right.
You know, but we've all done it.
We all do it, yeah.
But we do have our official attorney, Lisa Lanier, on the phone to break it down for us because, you know, we've also talked about the stupid tax.
Yeah, there's a dumb tax.
Can they get money from this if you know you're going to be walking with hippos?
Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning. I think, I love to travel, right? I love to travel. But this is like reason 599 why I will never go on an African safari. Never.
Really?
I have a long list. Snakes, many snakes on the list.
Yeah.
It's just, I have zero interest in that. I'm sorry. I don't get it. Go to the Ashboro Zoo. You know what I mean?
That is true, though.
Yeah.
If you want to see these animals up close, go to the zoo. It's just, I don't get it. Anyway, so this is a very interesting theory that they're applying here because, if you use a travel agency, that's essentially what these people in Connecticut are. They're a specialty travel agency. They put together different elements. As the owner of the travel agency described it, it's like a puzzle, and we're putting together these different pieces. They don't employ or control any. They book your hotel. Mm-hmm. They book some excursions for you. And, they're saying, these aren't our agents. We don't have any control over these people. And this was a reputable tour company that was actually, had great reviews and they were accompanied by a national park ranger as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, so it's a Connecticut company. Connecticut also they recognize the law of assumption of the risk for an inherently dangerous activity. So in their answer, the tour company has said, look, number one, we didn't hire, train, or employ these guides. This wasn't, we just booked this trip for you. Number two, you assume the risk of a dangerous activity when you did this. And number three, they actually signed an arbitration clause as part of their contract with the tour company, so it can't be heard in court anyway, according to the tour company. So we'll see. I don't think it's strong against the tour company. I think, and the reason they're suing the tour company is it's next to impossible to sue Chihuahua, however you say it, safaris in Africa, who was really the one that employed the guide and who was really responsible.
They're basically stretched thin because they know they can't get anything from another country, so they're trying to work the angle where we have laws in the United States that allow that. But let me ask you, you mentioned something about the zoo. If you went to the zoo and you assumed all risk at the zoo, even the one here in Asheboro, is that, and then something, somehow an animal breaks loose and you get injured or even killed, is that whose fault is that? Can you get a return on a lawsuit there?
Well, I mean, oftentimes people do, where there's inadequate, you have to show negligence. There has to be some inadequate gate or inadequate fencing or some animal that has shown a dangerous propensity and it's, put out to within reach of people, that sort of thing. I mean, because there have been some situations where animals have snatched children or children have fallen into a habitat and that kind of thing, where there have been successful lawsuits where they say, look, this was negligently designed, this habitat was negligently designed, where either the animal could get out of it or someone could fall into it. But you have to show negligence. And it's really interesting, how our country, and a lot of it is because of our tort laws, we really protect people from dangerous situations like that. I was in Iceland a couple summers ago, and they have so many dangerous things, and there's no guardrails, there's no protection, and you could just easily fall to your death or be swept into the ocean. And there's the black sand beach where these rogue waves come all the time, and they come way in and they snatch people. And I mean, I was on that beach, and I didn't go close to the water because there's just a little sign that just says, danger, rogue waves or whatever. Our tour guide said that their point of view in Iceland, the reason they don't ugly up nature with walls to protect people, they feel kind of like what you said about the stupid tax. That's kind of how they feel in Iceland. They're they said it's Darwinism,
survival of the fittest.
Survival of the fittest. If you're dumb enough to, disregard that, then we're better off without you. That's kind of their point.
Well, I know. I lived in South Africa for 2 years. It wasn't a vacation; it was a missionary. But were able to go on a closed safari where we went in a vehicle, but the vehicle had to be closed. They had open air safaris, and the lions would come right up to your car. Do not roll down your window. But you get, a lion's you're face to face with the lion. But they've had instances where people got out of the car against the rules, immediately attacked and killed.
I think, Jared, in that case, they're really telling you about the rules. But
that was great. Because we knew this is dangerous. Do not. They don't even crack your window.
Nobody knows. I would be unfamiliar with those. If it's a little sign that said danger water, I would just kind of think, well, all beaches have this. Is it really that dangerous? How would I know how dangerous it is? I think you have to have adequate. For instance, I depend, no matter where I go in the United States, that it's going to be pretty safe for the consumer. I'd learned my lesson in Mexico where they don't care. I almost died, but in the United States, I depend on that. So to me, at least in the United States, you have more confidence that you're probably secure.
But aren't we also more Lisa, you tell me, aren't we more sue happy in the U.S. than anywhere else?
I mean, our system is similar to all European countries. I mean, that's, and even non-European countries. I mean, ours, of course, we originate our tort system from the Crown.
Yeah.
And so we didn't invent this. I mean, it is, and you see this in other countries as well. I think the difference is the attitude or the standard of care that they expect. They just don't put up fences around everything to protect people. I think they do put a little bit more of a burden, particularly with regard to things in nature or on premises, to use common sense. And they do put, in Iceland, there is a warning, danger of death, waves will sweep you into the ocean. I mean, it tells you how grave the danger is. But you'd be surprised how many people still go out there and like, I can do this, and then get swept away.
I'm stronger than the ocean.
Yes, I think that's the difference right there is the common sense.
Right.
I mean, I'm not. I don't want to blanket the United States as
Americans. We're trusting. Go ahead, Kate.
Sorry, I don't want to blanket the United States as like lack of common sense, but I do think that there's like when you go to other countries, I think that it's like maybe they have more of a not everybody, but maybe more of a respect of, hey, I saw the sign for rogue waves. I'm not going to test it.
Yeah.
But we're going to have some Americans who are going to be like, oh, really? Watch this. The same ones that go to the Yellowstone or to the national parks, and they're like, I can handle this elk. Well, you get what you get.
We are dependent. We are very dependent here in the United States that if we are going to a location or something that is dangerous, we are going to be well informed. We depend on that, which is confusing because when you do go to other countries, you're kind of thinking that way, and it's not.
It's going to be the same. It's not. But they're also,
and unfortunately, we have a reputation for going and like defacing, and which you don't see in a lot of other countries. Like we will, our folks will go and like, stick bubble gum on a precious, artifact or like, their initials or we're really kind of known for that, and and it's really. It's interesting, our attitudes about stuff. I had a client quite a few years ago. He got banned from Disney because he and his cousin, they were on this huge family trip, and they thought it would be funny to tackle Chip and Dale.
Oh, my gosh. I just met them.
It's hilarious.
I literally just met both of them.
They're rough and tumble guys.
The Rescue Rangers.
The funniest thing was to hear. I mean, the funniest thing was to hear them tell me about it because my client came back and told me about it.
Oh.
He's a teenager. And he goes, yeah, we got banned. We got kicked out. Our family's so mad at us. We decided to tackle them squirrels.
Oh, boy.
Squirrels. First of all.
That's hilarious.
I wouldn't take the case, Lisa. They're chipmunks.
Yes.
No, I represented in something else.
What a shock. You mean they did something else? No, but yeah, and there's that element even here where there'll be clearly marked signs like, do not stand close. And they're like, I'm going to hang off the edge of this mountain and take a selfie. And they fall and die.
And people think, not me.
Right. Not me.
They're not talking to me.
Yeah.
Not gonna be me.
Yeah.
Right.
Interesting.
But this lady got snatched up in this elephant's mouth and shaken and chomped on her. I mean, not elephant, hippo. These hippos do not play. I mean, they are super dangerous and strong and fast.
I wouldn't
have known realize how fast they are.
I wouldn't have known that a hippo is that dangerous. Now I do, but all my life I would probably there's a hippo right there. If it's 20 feet away, I wouldn't know.
It doesn't help that, one of the most viral things from, I think, just this past year was what, Momo or whatever his name with the pygmy hippo. And we're like, oh my gosh, so cute.
Yeah.
But I also wouldn't just walk straight up to one and be like, oh, you're just like the one that's on Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
No, but you could be 20 feet away and
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was listening to.
If they charge you, they're going to catch you, and we've personified them. I think because of their kind of bubbly, happy-looking appearance. We've kind of like personified them as these jolly, sweet, slow creatures, and they're none of that.
The movies have done that.
They're the opposite.
Like in what's the Madagascar?
That and Fantasia from years ago. They're like the dancing hippos. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just. There's all sorts of I mean, I listened to an interview recently, and they were talking about wealthy people will go to other countries, and part of the things that they allow you to do is to go in a cage with a tiger.
You forget it.
Oh, my gosh.
And they were saying, he said the sad thing is in Thailand. And you're in like an enclosure with just you, a tiger, and like a trainer. And he said the sad thing is you do realize right away that the tigers are heavily and lions are heavily drugged, and he said that's a problem. But I remember being in South Africa, and I was 19 years old, and went to some place, and they're like, "Here's a lion cub, hold it."
Oh, they do that. You can go hold a bear cub or
whatever. Claws still, like scratch me, but I'm like, even that's not really that safe
because they're also not of sound. They're not doing very well either.
No, it's just like you ever like monkeys and stuff. They look so cute. The next thing you know, they tear your face off.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Rip your genitals right off. Hate when that happens.
Yeah.
All right. She's awesome. Official attorney of Jared and Katie in the Morning, Lisa Lanier. If you're ever injured on the job, contact her right away at hireaheavyweight.com.